Albert Einstein. This is a name that feels both familiar and unfamiliar. You may have learned about this Jewish physicist from teachers, textbooks, television, or magazines. Reports often attach grandiose titles to Einstein, such as the greatest or the most famous, to catch the public's attention. Those with a bit more knowledge might know of Einstein's theories of general and special relativity, or the iconic equation E equals mc squared, which is etched into history. However, Einstein's childhood, family life, and personality are often fragmented and distorted by various narratives, making him feel distant. In the end, many overlook the intriguing individual behind the genius. Through this series of videos, I hope to reintroduce you to Albert Einstein, the man with wild curls and a seemingly disheveled appearance. At 11:30 a.m. on Friday, March 14, 1879, a Jewish couple in the German town of Ulm, in the Swabian region, welcomed their first child. The parents, Hermann and Pauline Einstein, initially considered naming their son Abraham, after an elder, but felt it sounded overly Jewish. They kept the initial A and named him Albert Einstein instead. While the birth of a child is typically a joyous occasion, Hermann wasn't particularly thrilled. His featherbed business had recently failed. Life had to go on, however, and after being persuaded by his brother Jacob, Hermann moved the family to Munich, where the two opened a new electrical company. Jacob, an educated and certified engineer, handled the technical aspects, while Hermann managed operations, sales, and finances, borrowing startup funds from his wife, who had inherited substantial wealth. Things went smoothly at first, and the family settled into a stable routine. A year later, when Albert was 2, they welcomed their second child, a baby girl. The couple named her Maria, but affectionately called her Maya. For the family's maid, Maya seemed smarter and cuter than her older brother Albert. After all, Albert didn't begin speaking words until he was over 2 years old. This perceived slowness earned him the nickname the Dopey One from the maids. Albert's personality didn't endear him to others either. He rarely played with children in the garden, preferring instead to tackle puzzles, build intricate structures with his toys, and tinker with a steam-powered car gifted by his uncle. By today's standards, he enjoyed brain teasers, Lego, and mechanical models. Albert also struggled to control his emotions. At 5 years old, he once chased a governess around the house with a chair. His sister Maya often played rough with him, later joking in her memoir that being his sister required a solid skull. Despite these moments, their bond remained strong, and Maya became Albert's closest companion. Psychologically, young Albert's ability to systematize, identifying governing principles, far outpaced his capacity for empathy or understanding others' feelings. In simple terms, he was just a kid. These traits softened as Albert grew older, but a pivotal moment came when his father gave him a gift during an illness, a simple yet exquisite compass. To Albert, the compass's needle seemed guided by a mysterious force, sparking fascination and curiosity. This story has an almost mythic quality. Countless books and biographies about Einstein mention this small compass as a defining element of his life. It fueled his lifelong quest to uncover the fundamental nature of reality, leading him to devote his career to field theory, a mathematical framework describing how conditions at any point in space influence matter and other fields. It's no exaggeration to say that this compass kindled Albert's nascent curiosity about the natural world. Around the same time, his mother nurtured his artistic side by giving him a violin and arranging private lessons. Initially indifferent to the gift, Albert's attitude changed when a teacher played him Mozart's sonatas. The music seemed to leap with vitality before his eyes, and he became enthralled. This newfound love for music would remain one of Albert's greatest joys throughout his life. Whenever he hit a dead end in his research, he would retreat to the kitchen late at night and play his violin. But that's a story for another time. At 6 years old, Albert recovered from his illness and prepared to leave home briefly to attend school. Hermann enrolled him in a Catholic school named Peter's School, chosen simply for its proximity. The family, unusual for the time, was non-religious, with Hermann regarding Jewish rituals as outdated superstitions. As a result, Albert was the only Jewish student among his 70 classmates. Despite the growing anti-Semitic sentiments of the era, Albert's teachers maintained an inclusive approach, treating all religions equally. Albert not only completed his studies, but excelled, achieving top marks in all subjects, including Catholic doctrine. In 1888, Albert graduated from elementary school and advanced to Leupold Gymnasium in Munich, a progressive secondary school. The school emphasized mathematics, science, Latin, and Greek, and even provided a teacher to guide Jewish students in their faith. At Leupold, Albert developed a deep interest in Judaism, becoming so devoted that he observed kosher dietary laws and was the only family member to observe the Sabbath. At first glance, the pious young Einstein seems at odds with his later scientific persona, but his interest in religion stemmed not from faith but curiosity. Growing up in a secular household allowed him to explore religion on his own terms. His fascination with the rituals and stories recorded in religious texts led him to emulate other believers. Much like someone playing God of War might develop an interest in Greek mythology, Albert's exploration of religion was driven by wonder and imagination. However, this enthusiasm for religion proved fleeting. As Albert matured, his views on religious ceremonies shifted dramatically, a topic I'll delve into in later stories. Beyond religion, Albert excelled academically, especially in mathematics. His school teachers struggled to keep up with his rapid progress, prompting his parents to buy him advanced textbooks. Albert's love for math wasn't entirely innate. His uncle Jacob, the engineer, introduced him to its joys through vivid and engaging examples. Another key influence was Max Tommy, a medical student who dined weekly with the Einsteins as part of a Jewish tradition of hosting a student on the Sabbath. Tommy repaid their kindness by sharing books with Albert, including People's Books on Natural Science and Sacred Geometry. The People's Books on Natural Science, a series of 21 volumes by Aaron Bernstein, combined cutting-edge scientific theories with imaginative experiments. The first volume's discussion of the speed of light and its implications for natural laws resonated with Albert, rekindling the sense of wonder sparked by the compass. These stories expanded his understanding of the physical world and inspired him to ponder how different forces might unify. Albert formed a rare bond with Tommy, who became his intellectual companion. Their weekly discussions continued until Albert turned 13, at which point Tommy admitted he could no longer keep up with Albert's intellect. As a parting gesture, Tommy introduced him to philosophy, gifting him works by Immanuel Kant. At first, Tommy had low expectations. Kant's dense writings were challenging even for adults. Yet Albert surprised him again, devouring Kant's works and exploring other philosophers on his own. Time flew by, and Einstein celebrated his 15th birthday. By then, he had already mastered geometry and algebra, delved into philosophy, and even taught himself calculus. Remarkably, in subjects he wasn't passionate about, such as Latin and Greek, Einstein still managed to excel, often ranking first in his class. Logically, such an academically well-rounded student should have been a favorite among teachers and admired by classmates. However, Einstein's relationships with them were strained. In hindsight, many believe this was due to his unique personality, which made it difficult for him to connect with others. While this might be partly true, humans are inherently social creatures, and even Einstein couldn't isolate himself entirely. In elementary school, he had the company of supportive teachers. But when he entered middle school, a time when friendships and social interactions become increasingly significant, the combined ostracism from both peers and teachers had a profound impact on him. This wasn't entirely. Einstein's teachers adhered blindly to authority and engaged in rigid, rote-style education, which stripped the joy out of learning. Meanwhile, His classmates unquestioningly followed school directives and idolized the marching Prussian military. Einstein found this mindset incomprehensible and detested such mechanical, restrictive attitudes. In a 1901 letter to a friend, Einstein bluntly stated, "Blind reverence for authority is the greatest enemy of truth." Any skepticism toward authority arises from experience, a deep-seated doubt about beliefs ingrained by specific societal contexts. That doubt has never left me. This philosophical shift not only led to his alienation in school, but also caused him to sever ties with the religious beliefs he once cherished. The boy who oh. By this time, Einstein had abandoned all participation in Jewish religious rituals. He realized that many religious stories couldn't possibly be true, as they contradicted mathematics and science. Beyond the idealistic aspects of religion he encountered in his youth, Einstein came to see religion as a tool governments used to subjugate the masses. While it fostered devotion, it also bred ignorance and stagnation. Around this time, the Einstein family's electrical business suffered a severe downturn. Once employing hundreds of workers, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy, drowning in debt. This further proved that Hermann Einstein was ill-suited for business. The family's home was foreclosed and auctioned off, forcing them to relocate to cheaper accommodations in Italy. Einstein, however, was left behind with relatives to complete his studies. By the winter of 1894, he obtained a doctor's note from a friend of the family, claiming the school was detrimental to his physical and mental health. With that, he boarded a train to Italy, crossing the Alps to join his family in their new home. This impulsive decision left his parents speechless. His sister, Maya, however, understood the real reason behind her brother's decision. If Einstein stayed in Germany until the age of 17, he would be required to enlist in the military, a fate he was desperate to avoid. In 1895, after dropping out of school, Einstein decided to reassure his parents by applying to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich. The first step of his plan was to purchase Jules Vial's 3-volume set of advanced physics textbooks for self-study. During this time, he also wrote a rather immature scientific essay for an uncle who had cared for him. When not studying, Einstein spent his free time hiking, exploring the mountains, or helping his uncle Jacob with technical challenges at his company. In October, he boarded a train to Zurich to take the entrance exam. While he excelled in mathematics, physics, and science, he failed subjects like literature, French, and biology, which he was less familiar with. Additionally, he was underage for admission. Following the school principal's advice, he transferred to a high school in Aarau, about 25 miles away, to prepare for another year. In Aarau, Einstein stayed with the Winteller family, a household of 9 with 7 children. Initially, Einstein viewed them merely as his landlords, but their warmth and hospitality surprised him. The family patriarch, Jost Winteller, shared Einstein's disdain for German militarism and nationalism. His sincerity and progressive political ideals deeply influenced Einstein's social philosophy. More importantly, the Winteller family helped Einstein become more optimistic and cheerful. Though he still saw himself as socially awkward, they didn't mind. They appreciated his sharp sense of humor during conversations and his dedication to studying late into the night. The Winteller family became so fond of the curly-haired young man that they even played a role in his romantic awakening. Einstein fell for their beautiful daughter, Marie, who was 2 years older and had just earned her teaching certificate. To woo her, Einstein wrote his first love letter. Of course, as history would have it, the relationship didn't last long. However, the Winteller family remained close to Einstein's family. Years later, their son Paul married Einstein's sister, Maya. Einstein also found the Aarau School's educational philosophy to be a breath of fresh air. Influenced by the Swiss education reformer Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, the school emphasized fostering critical thinking, respecting each student's individuality, and adapting teaching methods to suit each child. Pestalozzi believed students should draw their own conclusions through observation and gradually progress to intuitive, conceptual, and visual thinking. This approach helped Einstein fully grasp and integrate the principles of mathematics and physics, avoiding rote memorization and mechanical exercises. Teachers there were approachable, fostering a sense of camaraderie with students rather than enforcing authority. This progressive educational environment, rare in 19th century Europe, greatly enhanced Einstein's visual reasoning. It was during his time at Arau that Einstein began contemplating the thought experiments that would later make him a scientific icon. He famously recalled, "In Arau, I conducted my first primitive thought experiments, which had a direct impact on the development of special relativity." But good times never last. In January of the following year, Einstein renounced his German citizenship. By May, he graduated from Arau High School, ranking second in his class. In October, he passed the Zurich Polytechnic entrance exam with top marks, officially becoming a student at the institution. Specializing in physics and mathematics, Einstein excelled academically, quickly earning the admiration of his professors for his enthusiasm and talent. However, his interest in certain subjects waned as he grew impatient with the school's outdated curriculum. While Einstein longed to explore cutting-edge theories and experiments, many of his professors clung to traditional approaches. Even his favorite professor, Heinrich Weber, avoided discussing recent scientific breakthroughs in class. This led to Einstein's inattentiveness, frustrating some professors to the point of calling him a lazy dog. Despite this, Einstein's classmates held him in high regard. Unlike typical troublemakers who skipped class without consequence, Einstein consistently topped the class. This passion for learning earned him the label of genius. His distinct charisma attracted like-minded intellectuals, with whom he delved into groundbreaking scientific theories, including Kirchhoff's radiation theory, Helmholtz's thermodynamics, Hertz's electromagnetic theory, Boltzmann's statistical mechanics, and more. Among Einstein's influences were lesser-known theorist Auguste Faupel and renowned French scholar Henri Poincaré. Faupel's conjectures about absolute motion resonated with Einstein's early thoughts on special relativity, while Poincaré's contributions to differential equations, celestial mechanics, and automorphic functions made him one of the era's leading scientists, second only to Einstein in approaching the core ideas of special relativity. Einstein also forged a lifelong friendship with Marcel Grossmann, a wealthy Jewish mathematics prodigy. Grossmann frequently lent Einstein his notes, and the two often skipped class to discuss philosophy at a cafe by the Limmat River. Grossmann admired Einstein's brilliance, believing he was destined for greatness. Their friendship endured long after graduation, with Grossmann providing significant support in Einstein's career and research. It's no exaggeration to say that Grossmann played a crucial role behind both special and general relativity. Einstein might have completed his Zurich studies in relative peace and simplicity were it not for one pivotal encounter with Mileva Marek, his first wife. While modern discussions about Einstein's love life often paint him as a selfish and unfaithful partner, their relationship began as a pure and rare connection. Yet Einstein's relentless pursuit of his ideals inevitably took a toll on their love. As to why their relationship ultimately unraveled, and whether Marek played a role in developing special relativity, I'll cover these topics in my next video. Subscribe to my channel for more fascinating stories. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.